If you want to learn how to manage your crap and have it easily accessible but not easily visible, then watch this video. It's for you and for me too, because I still have some work to do. Hey guys, do you have piles of stuff everywhere? Do you have to dig through drawers and cabinets to find what you're after? Yeah, me too. But I have some hacks that streamlines the process, and then I don't avoid doing some of the things because I know that the supplies I need are handy and within reach. So on the outside of door number 1, I have a towel rack because I like to have a clean, dry hand towel when I'm cooking and baking. On the inside of the door, I've got a sticky hook, a couple of sticky hooks to hang these little mesh strainers that I use a lot. They used to just always be in the back of the cabinets and I could never find them or I'd have to dig them out. And you'll also see on the bottom shelf is a set of 3 color-coded colanders. It's not critical, but I don't like to use like the fruit colander for meat or cilantro or something. So I did use a Sharpie and mark them with what I use them for. It's not. Then on the neighboring cabinet, I have a twin towel rack that I flipped backwards. So from the outside, you can't really see it, but if you open the door, there's these little hooks you can see, and I hole punched my gloves so that I could hang them there. And then I also have my microfiber cleaning cloth. That way all those things can dry out when not in use and don't get like musty and gross, but they're also not visible. They're also not wadded up at the bottom underneath the sink. You know, it's a hot mess. There's a reason I didn't show you the rest of under the sink. That's a later day. Inside this door are some silicone microwave covers that my mom found, and I love them, but they were just kind of piled in the cabinet or would like flop over. So decided to hang those, which made more room for me to stash the toaster in there and a couple other things for me, because I like to try to keep my counters as clean as possible. One, it stresses me out to have them too messy, but also it's just the counter is for prepping stuff, and if there's crap all over it, you know, you don't have room to work there. So I try to keep it a good workspace. On the back of this door, you can see I have a cheese grater. It's a flat one. I have a bigger like crank style one, but I love having the flat one just for like a quick use. So I hung it there because it just would get kind of jammed if I tried to put it in a drawer, and I just didn't really have a good spot for it. There are also these rotating spice racks. I call them Lazy Susans. I have an aunt named Susan. She's not offended. But if you're named Susan and you are offended, or if you know another name, you can call them that. But they, in my opinion, are one of the better things. I've tried other spice racks, but they either waste a lot of space by being like the stair step kind that leaves like an empty space at the back, or you can't really see all the spices. You still have to pull some out. So I like these that rotate, and this is just a fraction of the collection. I have a lot of spices and seasonings, so I really needed a way to be able to see them all and not waste the cabinet space. This door actually is one of those corner rotating cabinets. I don't really love those because I don't love having stuff on the counter. I don't have my baking supplies in canisters on the counter, and in this cabinet, round just wouldn't make sense. It just would waste a lot of space. So I got these rectangle Rubbermaid ones that stack to be able to pack more in there. And then I haven't done a really great job yet, but I do have a lot of the baking spices in these little baskets there, you can see. Mainly just because if they're loose, they tend to fall off into the abyss behind the rotating thing and then are never heard from again. You'll also see my favorite, hooks, of course. I've got measuring spoons on there. I keep some as a cluster for like, if I'm baking and I have several different size measurements, but I also separated a few of them. I just buy them at like the Dollar Tree so they're cheap. That way, if I need like, a teaspoon, but it's a wet ingredient, but I also have a dry teaspoon, of something, then I don't have to use a whole bundle just for that or wash it and dry it off. So I do have spares of that. This next one's kind of a dual part. Behind one door, you'll see large, extra large gift bags, and I have a bin that's kind of hiding in there, but you can see it in the video, of party decoration stuff. So obviously if I use a tablecloth, plastic tablecloth or something and it's gross, I'll throw it away. But a lot of the like decorative little pom-poms and the banners, I hang on to those because you just never know when you're gonna need them. And I have repurposed them into several different other parties, just using the colors and kind of recreating the theme. And it actually came in handy. One time, a friend of ours was trying to throw a surprise party for his wife and couldn't find the decorations he'd got. But I always have the decorations on hand, so I just brought some of those. So here in the other half of the cabinet, I have the smaller gift bags, tissue paper, and a few other things. On these, I have done labels because some of the items are so small you can't really tell what's in the bin. I just got the bins at the dollar store. I always try to make sure they're sturdy because sometimes you get stuff there and it'll break easily, but these were fairly sturdy. I also ended up liking the bins because you can just grab like a bin of gift bags and a bin of the tissue paper and go to a different area and, you know, check what sizes you need and stuff like that. So that's been really handy. I had tried like hanging the gift bags, but you had to pull off several to get to the one you want. I had tried putting them in like a bigger bin, but then they were always laying on top of each other. You still have to like shuffle through them. So I really try to keep them vertical so that I can see exactly all the options and easily remove them from the bin when I'm ready to use them for, you know, gifts. Behind this door is actually a genius hack that my husband came up with. He hung a fabric shoe rack and we keep like spare grocery bags, extra cleaning supplies, just kind of random things like mini extension cords, stuff that it's like doesn't really go in like the miscellaneous drawer. You don't really want to stuff it into the sink, just things like that. And it's been really handy. And that same concept could really work in like a bathroom or a kid's room or just things like that, where you have some of those like supplies that don't really kind of like fit in a category, but you do need to get them, you know, easily and not have to go searching for them. Similar to the measuring spoons, some canisters that have the baking stuff, you'll see they have measuring cups in them. I have an extra set for sugars and flours that just stays in there. And I have like other sets that I use for, you know, measuring out for oil and different things. But that way, when I go to bake, I don't have to worry about, oh, I just used that 1 cup measuring cup for the oil and now I have to wash it and dry it off to use it for the flour. I just have some in there, extra ones. And then once I get down to like the bottom of using that supply, I do wash the measuring cup and the bin out, but until then it stays in there, just making it easier for me to not have to track down my one cup measuring cup or something. I am not a minimalist. If you bake a lot and stuff, that is just too much of a hassle to try and wash and dry every time you use that. It's not going to happen. So I'm not a minimalist, but I do like to have organization and I do like to cut down on things when I can. I have You'll recognize if you saw the chocolate chip cookie video, this brand of pans that I'm showing in here. These are my bread pans, but they're the USA pans, which I love. My mom had this hack idea a while ago. It's that rubberized shelf liner that you can get at like the Dollar Tree, Walmart, other things. I'm sure Amazon has it, but I got a roll of that and I don't think I've even run out, and I've used it for all the bread pans and some other pans, and then also in between my skillets. It just keeps them from scratching each other because I had done that in the past, you know, put in a skillet and didn't notice like the metal on the bottom had gotten a little bit of like a rough spot and had scratched my other pan. So that allows me to stack when I have to. Like I would rather not stack all my pans, but space-wise, sometimes you have to. That at least keeps them from damaging each other. So that's been a really handy hack that my mom had. For my nicer, which actually, yeah, right here, can you see them? My ceramic porcelain? I don't know, the glass stuff that doesn't have the weird texture, the smooth glass stuff for my serverware. I was going to do the same thing. I actually had some cut, I think, but my mom had been going through and she crochets and my grandma had crocheted and they had doilies. I don't know if you know what those are. Maybe I'll put a little picture, but just like a little crocheted pretty thing. So I actually use those in there just because that's kind of special to me. And that way it still keeps them from getting damaged, but it was a way to use those and they don't really get dirty. They're just there. So. And my final kind of bonus tip hack thing, it's kind of funny. I've seen people mentioning like the sink cup or counter cup or whatever that, you know, their roommate or spouse or whoever leaves like right by the sink. Like they don't put it in the sink of the dishwasher, or they leave it out because they might use it. And if you have roommates or, you know, several people living with you, kids, whoever, you know that like a lot of cups get used and like they would just pile up. So when my kids were small, that just irritated me. You know, they'd take like one drink and then put it in the sink, or even if they tried to keep it, like sometimes they wouldn't know whose was whose and then we have to wash them anyway. So when they were doing that, I finally decided, I tried a couple things. I had tried some coasters with their name on it and stuff. It just didn't work. So I eventually did on the backsplash, just little easily removable labels with their name, so that when they're really little, like obviously you have to put it there, but at least it helps you keep track. But then as they got a little older, they could grab their own cup. They know which one's theirs. They know where to put it. That cuts way back on your, cups in the dishwasher and the sink. And it's funny because the kids are a lot older now. Most of them are like adults, and even when they come home, they'll grab a cup and they will still put it in their spot on the counter. Hopefully these hacks will help you. I know that I've still got some areas to work on. So if you want to see some of these, like as I'm doing them and how I figure out what the best option is, leave a comment, because I definitely have some more areas I have not perfected yet. But I have tried to transition over to like making sure I've kind of got all the things I need within arm's length, that I don't have to dig too many things out, things like that. It just makes it easier. It removes that block that prevents you from like maybe baking the new recipe you wanted to do, or starting on the craft project. Like this is just like to give you some ideas of like, oh, I can kind of like rethink my organizing to make it so that I can quickly grab things that I use a lot. Because like real life is messy, and not everything's gonna fit perfectly in the cabinets. You're not gonna have the perfect drawers or the perfect order. I mean, maybe you do, but you wouldn't be watching my channel if you did. So, but if you're like the average person that has like, just crap everywhere, and you don't have this perfect organizing system, or, you're on a budget. I don't have money to go buy these perfectly custom fit organizers that fit all my perfectly brand new things. I buy cheap stuff and figure out ways to organize with that. So, yeah, real life is messy, but it doesn't have to be miserable. So hopefully these things will help you to, like find more joy in your day and remove some of those like irritations and clean up some of the clutter. Like we don't realize how much that kind of impacts our enthusiasm when we're at home and things like that. But, just clearing the counters off and having things so easily accessible, like it's just such a like calming feeling. So hopefully these tips can help you with that. And check out some of my other videos. I have a few baking and gardening and even a what not to do DIY. And there will be more DIY coming. If you like this, there'll be more organizing. I do have some more things to show and some more things to do myself. Just lots of things, all the things to make real life more manageable and more joyful. So thanks for watching and joining me in my crazy and all the things that I do.